Is it me? Should I start? First day of school, DA. How'd it go? I wasn't sure if I was teeing you up or if you were just going to go right into it.
Sorry.
But we'll start there. I mean, there's no good way to say it. I mean, well, that sounds like something bad happened. Let's not beat around the bush. The man was back in the classroom today.
Yep. Good day. No issues. Had homeroom. Wasn't not sure I was going to have a homeroom, but I do. Ninth grade homeroom. They all showed up. We had to do course verification forms. Man, it's just like riding a bicycle. Didn't forget any of that information. I signed all the course verification forms in both English classes, which is typically what people forget to do, and I didn't forget.
That's right.
So, did some Who Am I writing today. Did some Who Am I telling today. I told them who I was, and it was good. It's a good day. No issues.
All right. So did you happen to take it upon yourself to write a Who Am I paragraph?
I did not write a paragraph. No.
That's a real shame. I was just wondering how you might introduce yourself, and how early in that of the pod, co-host of the pod would come up. Sorry, Dave.
Co-host of the pod did not come up today.
Well, to give you some behind the scenes, I think David Ray's texting because he's saying that we can hear somebody in the background, but in fact you can't. All you can hear is David Ray's hands on his microphone. That is,
I'm sorry. I can hear something. I can't figure out what it is.
It's your hands touching your microphone constantly.
No, because as we just discovered before the pod, I can't hear myself, so I can't hear the sounds that I'm making.
Okay, well, you're making a lot of them, FYI. And he goes back to touch the microphone. Unreal. Well, Dad, welcome back to class. Glad that you were there.
Yeah, thank you. Good job and good day. So it's all good. Welcome to Two Daves and a Mic. I'm David Allen, DA, along with David Allen, D. Ray, Michael Allen, the Allen boys, in the new year, 2026. And so our last pod was a pre-New Year's Eve and pre-New Year's Day, obviously. A lot has happened since then. David Ray ran the six-pack last week, and we really didn't talk a whole lot about sports, but we got a lot of sports that we can talk about this week. So let's start with the college football playoff. Interesting games over the holiday part of the week last week and the weekend. And I mean, what do you think? Is Indiana at this point, after what they did to Alabama, the clear favorite to win this thing? Or, could Miami, of all people, I mean, they're peaking. They look like they're playing as good a football as they played all year right now, and that's important. So what are your thoughts?
I think Indiana is still the favorite just because of the absolutely dominant performance that they had against Alabama. I think Alabama was kind of a cute, trendy pick, and 38-3. I mean, that's a beatdown, and the 3 didn't even really matter. I think, I was kind of looking forward to a Georgia-Miami possibility with the Kirby Smart going up against Carson Beck and, seeing what he could dial up on defense against a guy who was under center for him for a few years. But I'm excited that either Ole Miss or Miami is going to be playing for the championship, because the Ole Miss team with Trinidad Chambliss, I mean, he looks like number 1 pick material after his game last week. He has what they call a live arm. I mean, the kid can absolutely throw the football. And I think Oregon, 23-0 shutout of Texas Tech. I mean, as who was it, Dad, that messaged just about was it Coach Jones? Coach Jones of the pod was like, yo, wasn't that James Madison who put up 30 points on them last week, and Texas Tech can't score? So I think Oregon's stout. They're going to give Indiana a good game, but I would say Indiana's still the favorite for sure.
All right, so it's a rematch in that game. Indiana beat them 30-20 in Oregon. What about week 7? Something, week 8, somewhere in there?
Oregon's only loss of the season, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Can you beat the same team? I mean, usually 2 good teams going at each other, playing each other twice. You say it's difficult to beat the same team 2 times in in a season, that type of thing. What are your thoughts, Mike? What do you got on that one?
I think it's well, sorry, I don't know what you were just talking about right there specifically that you asked what I have about because I was preparing my next thing to say rather than listening.
That's fine. Go ahead. Indiana and Oregon was what I was saying. Can Indiana beat them twice in a season?
Yeah, definitely. I think Indiana's the guy. We'll see if that ends up being true. I have a take though. It's actually not necessarily a take. It's kind of obvious, I suppose. It's more so a question. I think that the Miami win either proves that the ACC was more legit than they get credit for, um, which will then retrospectively make a lot of things funny if Miami ends up, going and maybe even winning the national championship. Um, but I also think this isn't there like doesn't it always kind of feel like there's a question about Ohio State, like are they phony or are they not? Um, I mean, when you think about it, Ohio State's otherwise best opponent was it Indiana? Have they played anybody else really of note? Like whenever you really look back at it,
Texas to start the season.
Texas to start the season. You're exactly right.
But then after the way Texas started the season, then you started thinking Texas was a fraud.
Right.
But that's literally, I just saw this tweet. In college football, everyone is a fraud until one team wins the national championship. That's kind of like, we don't really do this in the NFL. Nobody's like, well, I mean, we do kind of say the Packers are a fraud. Or, I mean, sorry, the Bears are a fraud a little bit. But like, we're not like every week on Monday being like the top 4 teams in the NFL are fraud. But in college football, because of the sample size, it does feel like every year, every team is a fraud. It's the Stugotz win
Right.
until you win the big one, basically. So
Right. Well, I think Miami could be legit, and like I said, I think that could end up in retrospect making something, specifically the fact that the ACC championship isn't represented. I think that'll end up being funny. I think it'll kind of validate, I guess, Duke and Virginia, because those are 2 teams that probably had the best look.
Dad, this is the same thing though that's been happening, and I know we're ACC people, but it's crazy that like year after year in football and in basketball, it's this self-fulfilling prophecy of the SEC beats up on each other and they are the ones that are good, and then the NCAA tournament starts and the ACC has 4 teams out of 6 in the Sweet 16, and people are like, "Was the ACC good?" And it's like, well, you would never know because everyone says, well, the ACC lost to the SEC 6-12 on ACC SEC Challenge Day, and therefore we've determined that the SEC is the really good conference. And it's happened in football several times too, with ACC teams getting in. Like SMU, didn't they upset somebody last year in the tournament?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like it's perpetually frustrating to be an ACC sports fan because recently it's all it just means more in the SEC basically.
Well, and I mean, it's just like Clemson when they won the national championship 2 out of 3 years. I mean, nobody thought Clemson was going to win a national championship until they won the national championship, and then they did it again. So, I think Miami could definitely could give the ACC some cred with the win. I mean, they've already given the ACC some cred by getting to the semifinals. So we got 2 games. Who we're picking? We got Miami, Ole Miss, and Indiana, Oregon. Mike, who you got?
I'm going to take Miami and Indiana to go on into the Natty. Do we want Natty picks, or will we do that later?
No, we'll do that next week. I guess there's no reason to yeah. D-Ray, who you got?
Yeah, Miami, Indiana. The storyline to watch is Miami's built in the trenches, and they haven't played a team. The two teams that they played as fast as Ole Miss were SMU and Louisville, and they lost those 2 games. So if you can make the big 280, 320-pound boys who can wreck games play at a fast tempo, you can beat Miami. And that Ole Miss has the ability to do that, but I still think Miami comes out on top.
I think it's interesting. I think I'm just going to be contrary and go the opposite. I'm going to go Ole Miss, Oregon. I think I love is it Cignetti? How do you say
Cignetti.
it?
Yeah.
Cignetti. I love him. I like his attitude just in general, but I like Dan Lanning too at Oregon. So I don't know. We'll see. Might completely be wrong, but just since both of you picked that way, I'll go against you, and we'll see how it comes out. So we'll talk about obviously the championship game next week. Hornets in the NBA, Michael, your boys absolutely went to OKC and put the wood to the Thunder. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the Thunder. I think they were like 24, 25, and 1 at that point. They have now lost 6 out of their last 12. They have 7 losses total now on the season. So are we thinking that the Thunder have taken a step back to the group, or are we thinking that, hey, these Hornets are for real?
All right. Well, I won't tell you my thoughts on that question right now. I will instead go and read to you what I tweeted last night. This 23 hours ago. I don't watch ESPN in the morning, but I bet they're going to talk about this game tomorrow. What I want y'all to know is that this is not a fluke. This is what this team is capable of. I have been noticing this for weeks. I think I bought Tijon Salon technically last week, and I want to credit him in part for this change. I think over the past month, it has been visible that Brandon Miller has become the number one offensive option. It's every night. It's game in and game out. He's who we're getting the ball to for offense. LaMelo Ball is back and healthy and is LaMelo. I'm not saying LaMelo's playing out of his mind. He hit some great shots last night. But for the most part, LaMelo's LaMeloing, and he's just healthy and active and playing and available. And we haven't seen that a ton. We just had to play a couple of games without Moussa Diabate, which was really hard, and I think honestly kind of made it show just how important he is to this squad. Miles Bridges, I'll even give Miles Bridges some credit. Like, people on Twitter can't stand Miles Bridges and talk a bunch of trash about him all the time, saying that we need to trade him. Miles Bridges has looked, important. And then that's not even to get into the second unit, where like guys like Sion James is like consistently guarding whoever you have. He took SGA out of the game last night. And then he's still on the offensive side of the court getting open for threes. This team is ready to make the leap. I don't know if it will be this season. I don't know if the stars are going to align, but I think that what they are doing right now is validating the fact that Hornets fans for years have been saying, if we could just be healthy, this is a good core. And now you've added Con Knipple to that. And it really is. I mean, like, it is beat the best team in basketball good when you have all of those guys available. So now here's what I'll say about the Thunder. They couldn't get anything going. They could not hit a shot. I think part of that is because we were stepping up on the defensive side of the court. They thought it was going to be a walk in the park, and that's because they have not watched film. It is not a walk in the park around here. You can ask Steph Curry. We make it hard. And so I think that was definitely a factor. But also vibes do seem down in OKC. Maybe losing to the Hornets is the kind of thing that'll be a turnaround moment for them. But I want the story to be a young team that is ready to make the leap and not a team that's, been losing a bunch. So,
well, definitely hear you on the losing to the Hornets might be a wake-up call, but I heard somebody on ESPN this afternoon say losing to the Spurs on Christmas Day for the third time this season should have been the wake-up call. So we'll see. I will say Melo's shot from the corner last night where basically he was on one leg falling out of bounds was unbelievable.
Unreal. I know.
I know. Go Hornets. That's what I say.
Yeah, we don't get that kind of luck around here. That's what you people need to know, is that is we don't get that kind of luck. And I also want to shout out Josh Green for getting a rebound last night. I'm just now looking at his stat line. He did get a rebound, but he was one rebound away from having a 10 trillion, which would have been unbelievable. So, Josh Green, solid role player. Thanks for being healthy.
D-Ray, you got any Hornet stakes there, D-Ray?
I want to continue down a path that I entered early in the NBA season, which is the team who is second in the East right now, highest point differential in the East, third highest point differential in the NBA, has the following guys playing 20 minutes a game, 80% of the games: Neemias Queta, Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, Josh Minot, Luke Garza, Ugo Gonzalez, and Bailey Shireman. That is the Boston Celtics. And I don't know what they're doing. other than the fact that Jaylen Brown is scoring 30 points. And by the way, getting upset that he didn't win Player of the Month, which is hilarious. Like, who cares about winning Player of the Month? Like, honestly, like I've never heard. I don't even know who a Player of the Month is. Like, I don't know who gives it out. Why you care? But as I'm going to keep this thread going about talking about the Celtics because they're in second place and they lost Tatum and they lost Al Horford. They traded Porzingis and they messed around and they're a 2 seed. So it's an interesting team up there in Boston.
Yeah, no doubt. Switching to college basketball, the UNC Tar Heels lost an ACC game against SMU on Saturday. You were on Big Hitters Only, D-Ray, following that game to break that one down. Honestly, I don't know how you did it because we had 25 people in the house that afternoon in full throat while you were trying to pay attention to the ball game and have some comments. You know, initially, just what I was standing behind the couch watching the game thinking that SMU, every time I saw them hit a three, and they did shoot 52% from threes. But honestly, they beat Carolina hitting twos. They outscored Carolina by 6 field goals, which is 12 points. And, I mean, that's basically the difference in the ball game. Everything else was more or less equal in that game. And anyway, tough loss for the Heels out in Texas.
Yeah, I think, like I said, the micro is, to me, the destiny of this team is eventually having Seth as the point guard and having Caleb Wilson, Stevenson, Bogovats, or Powell, or one of the shooters, and Vasar. That's your best 5, and I think that they'll come to that eventually. The macro is, and I'm not making any. I'm not firing Hubert. I'm just saying, it seems like UNC loses the sleepy 2:15 on the CW. Tom Brenneman's on the call Saturday game every year in the Hubert Davis era, where you used to just roll through and win those games. And it just feels like the last 5 years, there's like 2 games a season where the tip happens and you're like, oh yeah, we're going to lose to this team we definitely shouldn't lose to. Not to take anything away from SMU because they shot the lights out, like you said, but it's just, it feels like it happens twice a year. And that's kind of a weird thing. Is it like, are you not getting up for these games? Like, what is it? You know, shout out to Big Hitters Only. Obviously, they're having a special guest on this week. I'm not going to say who it is, but I'm just going to say, hearing Ross Smart interview a person of this importance for 10 minutes is going to be like studied. So we should all tune into that and see how that goes.
All right, check it out. Big Hitters Only. The most recent pod was D-Ray on Saturday, was a guest on with Ross Martin. And as he said, special guest coming up this week following the Wake Forest game. So Carolina.
I will be in attendance for the UNC Wake game. Shout out to Callum of the pod, Luke Hayek and Monica Hayek's son, will be in the baby race at halftime, attempting to win $529 for his NC 529. Word on the street is, yeah, Dad, you're making the same face I made. I thought it had to have been more than that, but apparently it's not.
I think $5,290 sounds.
But it's funny because Haley thought it was $500,000, and I said, well, that would pay for a lot.
Especially in a 529, dude. That thing would accumulate.
I have been told Luke and Monica have discovered a strategy. They know who is holding, who is releasing, who's on the other side. They've been practicing on hardwood floors specifically. Luke considered taking him to the Jordan High Gymnasium today. I don't know if that ended up happening or not, but there's a lot on the line for this game. So
okay, fantastic. Let me just stop right there though and say to the North Carolina 529 CFNC, fix this mess. You going out and having a baby race in the Dean Dome, and the best you can do is $529.
Confirmed. I'm looking at the post. It is $529. Yeah,
it's bogus. I mean, I got $600 for a baby right now. So that's pitiful that I can outdo him. Who's putting this on? Who have you been saying?
The CFNC.
It is the people who put on the 529 are the people who are doing. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Truly terrible. Unbelievable. All right, let's move it on to the NFL. A lot of really, the NFL is picks 4 through 6 in the 6-pack. Savannah Sweet Tea 6-pack. By the way, our boy Andrew in the house over the weekend. So shout out to Andrew and the Savannah Sweet Tea guys. Let's start with the Panthers in the playoff talk. Panthers kind of backed their way into the playoffs. Michael, I know as a Panthers guy, you probably don't want to hear that, but that's essentially what happened after losing on Saturday. But I'm going to tell you, it's been a long – and I know we're in Charlotte or right outside Charlotte, so I know we're, in the prime area to get the backlash on the officials from Saturday's game. But I'm telling you, my Twitter was ablaze of all – and it wasn't just Panther fans. I mean, it was like ESPN guys. It was a lot of people coming out big time on our cousin Brad Allen and his crew on Saturday in Tampa Bay.
Well, what I think you realize there is, like you said, while we are kind of in the prime market to be getting some of this stuff, when you're one of those Saturday games, people are watching, which was bad news for the NFL, as it turns out, because we were kind of watching in the background at times, just on the phone at dinner, as we were celebrating Poppy of the Pod turning 80. Shout out Poppy of the Pod. But like you said, there were a couple of things while we were watching that, looked questionable, that then when you go back and see the clips on Twitter, it's like, oh my gosh. Specifically, I mean, like the offensive pass interference on Ted McMillan, terrible. The ball out of bounds, Rico Dowdle catch. Did y'all see that? I mean, that doesn't even make sense.
They should, and we had this already earlier in the season. I think it was in one of the Cowboys games, but I tweeted about it. It should have been, once it was ruled a lateral and an inadvertent whistle stopped the play, they should have been given the option to replay the down. And instead, they marked it off 6 yards, like a penalty almost.
Right.
And so the Panthers went from having, 2nd and 10 to having 2nd and 16 or 3rd and 16, whatever the play was. I don't even remember. Atrocious handling of that by, again, cuz of the pod, Brad Allen and his crew.
Well, and then here's ultimately what I'll say. First of all, shout out to the Falcons for getting in there and taking care of business the last 2 weeks of the season.
Flu game from Cousin Kirk.
Was he sick?
Yeah, had the flu.
That's electric, bro.
Well, Bijan must have had the flu. He had 43 yards from scrimmage. What happened to him? He's the man. You're talking about him like he was the next best thing, and then he just laid an egg in that game.
Well,
Week 18 is weird, man.
But I will say that was my takeaway, is that a lot of people were saying the NFL doesn't want the Panthers in. They don't want the Panthers in. That's why they're doing this. They want the Buccaneers in. Well, the Buccaneers don't look good either. So I'm not out here thinking that this was some master plan to poorly officiate our game so that way we could backdoor the Bucs in. Because if that were the case, then they would have made sure the Falcons lost. And it's not like the Falcons looked awesome in that game either. The late one-handed touchdown from Shook made the score look closer than it felt in real life. But still, that was not a runaway game for the Falcons either. So all that being said, we're proud to be here. We're glad to be in the playoffs. We're excited for the opportunity. And we're going to go get the Rams. So let's go.
All right. Speaking of the other playoff matchups, D-Ray, did I miss the fact that Micah Parsons was playing offense for the Green Bay Packers? Like, what has happened to Green Bay on offense? They got shut out in that game until they kicked the field goal as time expired to lose 16-3.
Not their best.
And they were 13.5-point dogs, so that field goal with no time remaining basically absolutely thumped some of the bettors on that situation. But really, what in the world has happened to Green Bay?
I mean, they to be fair, they lost Love and Malik Willis. So the dude, they had their third string quarterback out there, and they knew they were going to be the 7th seed. All that being said, Packers, last I looked, were 1.5-point favorites against the Bears in Chicago, which I was shocked by because Green Bay hasn't looked like a good team. Yeah, and it's in the tic-tac zone, as they say on the Bill Simmons pod, so it's moved around between 1.5 and 1.5 the opposite way. I was surprised by that, and I will say I've taken the Bears. I think the Bears are – is it moved even more, Mike?
No, you were just right. I thought
Yeah.
I was going to look because I was like, surely he's wrong, and if he's not wrong, I'm going to
I'm
go
taking
alt
that
that
bet.
line faster than you've ever seen someone do anything. Sorry, continue.
Yeah, but
You were
that they
telling the
don't
truth,
have
though.
they don't have Micah Parsons on defense, which is part of the issue. And yeah, so I do want to say one quick thing about the Panthers, which is a double-digit underdog, which does not happen often in the playoffs, especially
At
for a home
especially.
team.
Yeah,
A home team. Last time a team was a double-digit dog was the Commanders against the Buccaneers. Tom Brady led Buccaneers in 2020. But it's not a thing that happens very much. And they do have a game plan. They have done it. They have beat them, obviously, this season 31-28 at home. Carolina dominated time of possession in that game. Rico and Chuba both had 35 combined carries. So there is a recipe. And I think it's the fun thing about that game is it's the 4:30 game on Saturday, which again, the folks at the Bill Simmons podcast call the Shakey's game because his entire fantasy league gets together at Shakey's that day. It's the first time in the history of the Houston Texans that they have played a wild card playoff game not in the Shakey's game at for the early game on Saturday. So that shows you how irrelevant the poor Texans have been. They've made the playoffs and they've always just stuffed them at 4:30 on Saturday. So hopefully the Panthers win and it starts a good weekend of good football games. I love the slate. It's a great slate of games.
should be a lot of fun. Let's stay in the NFL though and talk about the coaching changes. A lot of teams making the decision either late Sunday evening or yesterday to move on from head coaches. One of
Or
those
today,
did somebody else get fired today?
John Harbaugh.
John
Oh,
Harbaugh.
did he
yeah.
get? Okay, so that was leading me to the next thing, but I didn't know it had actually happened, which was, did the Luke kid get John Harbaugh fired by missing the field goal with essentially no time remaining in the Pittsburgh Baltimore game Sunday night?
Yeah, the early reporting is no. The early reporting is that his unwillingness to move on from his offensive coordinator, whose name is currently escaping me. I wanted to call him Wink Martindale, but it's not that. Whoever it
His
is.
defense. I think it's like
Yeah.
a Mungeon or
Yeah, Todd Monken. Todd Monken. Thank you.
Munson. There you go.
That was apparently the sticking point. So and of course this is how reporting works. You know, somebody wants this out, but there are 7 head coach openings, and John Harbaugh supposedly his agent received 7 calls after the firing. So that insinuating that one of the teams that has not fired their head coach is already reaching out
Which
about
would be
him.
the Miami Dolphins.
Could be the Miami Dolphins, who Mike McDaniel is currently sitting in limbo. Harbaugh is going to go get another job, obviously, and he'll turn it around. So I thought that was fascinating. I'm taking away from your question, Ed.
How long has he been with the Ravens?
19,
forever.
19 years.
Wow.
So where does
That's
he?
so long.
What's the best job for him? So Cleveland needs a coach. Arizona needs a coach. The New York Giants need a coach.
Atlanta Falcons.
The Atlanta Falcons need a coach. I mean, listen, the Atlanta Falcons with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London. I'm not sure about their quarterback situation with Michael Penix and Kirk Cousins backing him up, but
No, but they are, of the teams you just said right there, they actually are the team that probably feels like they're a coach away.
Tennessee needs a coach.
Tennessee's not the answer. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
Did you see who they're interviewing for the Tennessee job?
I didn't. Oh, yeah, Mike McCarthy.
Jason Garrett as well is gonna. So they're definitely gonna get them a good one. I actually think it might be the Giants' job, but that might be because their defensive line is stout, and I like Jackson Dart, and they got another top 5 pick. I don't know. I like that job, but I also like the Falcons' job too. I think that's pretty solid.
I like that Giants job as well. I think it's probably one of those two.
Out of all of those that you just talked about, I would say Harbaugh is the biggest surprise firing, just because of the longevity, and because you think about the last 3 years, right? The last 3 years, Zay Flowers drops the ball at home against Kansas City.
Yep.
Mark Andrews drops the 2-point conversion at Buffalo last year, and the rookie kicker misses a chip shot field goal this year. I mean, you take away one of those 3 plays, and the Ravens may have won the Super Bowl the last 3 years, and yet they moved on from him. So I'm going to say that's my biggest surprise of the ones that have gotten fired. Pete Carroll's the other one from the Raiders.
Yeah.
Who
agreed.
Were y'all surprised by any of them? Let's just say that.
Let me say this about Pete Carroll, because after I saw that, it was surprising to me. But then also what it immediately made me think of was, if you're the Raiders and you know that we're about to run out a bad season, it's not going to be good. And you're thinking to yourself, I could plug in somebody here to get us until we want our guy, whoever our guy is. Pete Carroll's the right kind of guy to be plugging in there. You're not going to ruin Pete Carroll's career at this point. You're not going to give him his one shot in the NFL that if he screws up, he's never going to get another one. So if they were looking for somebody to come in and fill in for a year, he makes sense for that. Now, is it what I would do? Absolutely not. I think you hire somebody and you say, we suck, I'm going to give you 5 years or 6 years or however long. You give them a long time to turn it around. I just feel like that makes more sense personally. But anyway,
the weird thing with Vegas, though, is that like they had Antonio Pierce interim, and it's like, why not just stick with him if you were going to dump him after a year? But
right.
The rumor there is like Brady wants to bring in Brian Flores, who has been the best defensive coordinator over the last couple of years. He's interested in Brian Daboll coming and being the offensive coordinator, which I don't know if you guys remember this or not. It's a funny pairing given the fact that the entire Brian Flores saga started because Bill Belichick accidentally texted Brian Flores instead of Brian Daboll. Do you guys remember that story?
Yes.
Brian Flores was going to get.
I need you to tell me this.
Yeah, Brian Flores had not yet interviewed for the New York Giants job, and they were using him for the Rooney Rule, basically. Belichick texted Brian Flores saying, "Congrats on getting the job." He meant it for it to go to Daboll because they had already decided, but they had not yet interviewed Flores. So that's an interesting pairing. I don't know if the two of them could work together or not. To me, the answer, though, Dad, is the Atlanta Falcons firing Raheem Morris just because of the comeback that they had to get to 8-9. And because it seems like everybody just loves the guy in Atlanta. I don't know if he can coach for crap. I have no idea. It doesn't seem like he's very good. But it seemed like they loved him and he fought back. So I was kind of surprised they canned him, to be honest.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see what the Falcons do because obviously they were, since they were 28-3 ahead of the Patriots in the Super Bowl, they have gone downhill a lot. So we'll wait and see. All right, final segment on the NFL and finishing up the six-pack is the awards. I don't know if y'all had a chance to read over them, but which team, which player was your biggest disappointment of the 25 season? Michael, we'll start with you. Biggest disappointment.
All right. Well, I mean, I feel like it's got to be said here, and I'm sorry, Dad. This is probably your biggest disappointment as well. But I do think that the Dallas Cowboys, after buying at the trade deadline, were in such a great position to make a run and potentially be a lot of fun. And then obviously it ended up being the opposite. I think somebody said that Sauce Gardner went from being 2-7 on the Jets to 2-7 on the Cowboys. I need to go and look that up to see if that can be possible.
It was one.
Colts.
Yeah, he was one and he was.
Oh,
yeah.
Sorry.
He was 1-8 as a Jet, and then 1-8 as a Colt, I believe. So
yes,
2-16 for the season, or something.
Sorry,
like that.
that's so funny. Yeah. Sorry, I had but y'all did the same thing with Quinnen Williams, where you kind of went and bought your guy, and didn't work out. So I mean, that's a bummer. I do want to give a quick postseason accolade for best take. And this is going to go to our friend DA, our father of the pod here, for drafting Dak Prescott. I think you had him as the fifth best QB.
Fourth, I think fourth, actually.
What did he finish as? Do you know?
Let me go while y'all get your. Oh my gosh, the cats are fighting around the door.
All right, well, here, let me say something because I won't answer a biggest disappointment since Michael did. I just want to say this. So Myles Garrett is going to win Defensive Player of the Year, I would assume. Broke the sack record on Sunday. we like on the pod to talk about Usain Bolt. We've talked about him only once. I don't know why I'm saying that. Did you guys see the statistic about Myles Garrett's? I think it's called get off time on the line of scrimmage on the sack.
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So Usain Bolt's get off time in the 100-meter dash is 0.165 seconds. Myles Garrett's on the sack was 0.17.
Wow.
So, I mean, just imagine a guy who looks like Myles Garrett having the twitchiness to get off that quick. Like, that's wild. So if you're wondering why it's hard to stop him, 0.17 seconds, and he's already swim moving you to the right, and you're a right tackle who just got in the league who's just trying to survive. Good luck. I would like to win best take award though for the Patriots. By the way, 14-3. I think when they were 1-2, I said they're about to rattle off some wins. So I'll take some.
There you go. Take some
cheer for
flowers. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, D-Ray, since Michael went with biggest disappointment, let's go with you or biggest surprise. What was your biggest surprise of the season?
It's got to be the Jags. I mean, 13-4 division winners. And it seems like Liam Cohen has rehabilitated Trevor Lawrence. He just got done rehabilitating Baker Mayfield. The Jags are also home dogs against the Buffalo Bills. Everybody is saying, hey, cousin Josh, no Mahomes, no Lamar, no Burrow, no excuses. Forget the fact that they have the 31st worst rushing defense in the league. So I can't wait to see if the Jags melt on Sunday or if they are able to take care of the Bills, because they've looked great and they have got nothing from Brian Thomas Jr. all season. It's wild. So the Jags are the biggest surprise. It's the biggest surprise to me.
All right. Coach of the year. Who's coach of the year this year? There's been some good ones. You just mentioned Liam Cohen for the Jaguars. I know Shane Steichen was getting a lot of love early in the season, and then, injuries took the Colts out. Who you got in that one?
I'd go McDonald in Seattle. 14-3, number 1 overall seed, number 1 in defensive DVOA, number 1 in overall DVOA. They're a juggernaut. And it's yet to be seen if Sam Darnold can win a playoff game. I don't know how they're going to fare in January. But they had a case for biggest surprise. Thought they would be good. Did not think that they would win that division. 14-3 from that team is very impressive. 8-1 on the road. I think they're 16-2 on the road in Mike McDonald's tenure. So I'll go with him.
I will say the biggest difference between Sam Darnold last year and this year. Remember, he was in the exact same spot last year and folded like a deck of cards, cheap,
like our card table at 14-14.
Yeah, you call it whichever. He folded big time last year in that game against the Lions, and then followed that up with an absolute stinker in the first round of the playoffs. This year against the 49ers the other night, rock solid, beat the 49ers handily, honestly, and now they got the bye and the number 1 seed. So at least he may not win a playoff game this coming weekend, but he got his team in a position to sit on the couch and watch this weekend. Michael, what were you looking up to find?
I was looking up Dak Prescott. He did end up being QB5. So I literally think you may have ranked him at either QB4 or QB5, and I think that David Ray and I both audibly laughed whenever you said that. So
yeah, we'll have to go back and look at the rest of that list, though, because the rest of my list may have ended up not being so good. So
well, that's all right. I was trying to find – I don't know how to do this, how to search our discography here, but I was trying to find wherever I had said the take after a Panthers win that we were going to win the NFC South. And you two both laughed, and then I actually laughed. I think that I was kind of joking whenever I said it. So I'll cut out my laughing and just post it and say that you guys are fools. My coach of the year is Ben Johnson. I think that might be a little bit of a take. I don't know what his odds are to actually win.
They have been better than I would have ever given them credit for.
I think that's kind of everybody's take on that.
Definitely say he's coach of the year, and that they are one of the biggest surprises of the year as well.
Yeah, no, 100%.
All right, MVP, last chance. D-Ray, you going with your boy?
I am, but it doesn't make any sense because it's like, Stafford threw a few touchdowns on Sunday, and then the odds switched, and now Stafford is favored again. So I think it's going to be really close. Everybody is weaponizing the Patriots' strength of schedule against Drake and saying he didn't play anybody. all the Patriots fans are talking about how Stafford threw, I believe it's 16 touchdowns from the 1 yard line this year, which is crazy. I mean, that is a crazy stat.
My boy Devontae Adams took advantage of that too.
14 tutties from Devontae Adams this year. So I'm still sticking with Drake, and I will say that I can't stand the like Drake's time will come, and this is time to recognize Stafford. I'm like, whoever was most valuable should be most valuable. That's just how it should be, like.
Who you got, Mike?
I completely agree. I think it's Drake May's year. I think there is a pretty noticeable difference in being able to throw to, Devontae Adams, who's had a fantastic year, Puka Nacua, who's obviously got incredible production, and for the most part, Drake May's got Stephon Diggs. Or what's left of Stephon Diggs.
I was going to say, did Stephon Diggs even play Sunday? I did not see that.
So. Well, he's in his own trouble, and so I don't know.
Big time. How about the Diggs boys? They were one of the best wide receivers and one of the best defensive backs in the league. And Stephon had the felony strangulation charge against him, and Travion got cut from the Cowboys essentially on the same weekend. So. Tough weekend to be a Diggs, no question about that. All right, let's move on to our buy or sell, as that'll wrap it up for the Savannah Sweet Tea 6-pack. Who wants to get us started?
I'll go ahead here. This is a time of year where a lot of folks are making New Year's resolutions, and I hope that you're keeping up with them. I hope you keep up with them all year. Really, I hope if you scribbled and thought of some ways that could make you better this year, then obviously I hope you reach your goals. I heard, I can't remember where this came from, but it might even be Jake Seitz. So potentially shout out to Jake Seitz of the pod. I probably should have asked him beforehand if this was him, but somebody at one point who I knew, when they opened up a new field notes notepad, this actually may be Jack Durham. So shout out Jack Durham of the pod if it's you. They would scribble out the first page. They would mark all over the first page and kind of like mess it up, so that way they didn't. This is definitely Jake Seitz of the pod. Sorry, that way they didn't obsessively write the date in the exact same place and format everything correctly. So they would scribble out the first page sort of as a way of saying, now whatever happens in this book is okay. I don't care. I'm not going to be particular about what goes in it. I think that's a good thing to move into the new year with. So what did we do last week? We missed the gym a bunch. We ate a couple of unhealthy meals. We came home to Shelby. We had a sugary soda when we said we weren't going to. We scribbled on the first page, baby. We went ahead and we said, perfection is not the goal. That's not going to be required. That's not what we need here. So I am buying scribbling on the first page, getting perfection out of the way so that way you can then go on and be good. What is that? Is that a quote from the Chronicles of Narnia? Now that you're not perfect, you can finally be good. Something to that effect. I'll verify that and come back to you later. But I'm buying scribbling on the first page.
Nice.
It sounded like an excuse to give a 3-minute sermon to me, but. By the way, Greta Gerwig producing a Chronicles of Narnia movie this year. I believe she's doing Prince Caspian coming to Netflix. So interesting.
David Ray, surprised you didn't know that. And now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. Comes from East of Eden, John Steinbeck.
Oh,
nice.
Wow.
Haley currently reading it right now. So I'm very excited about that.
There you go.
I will buy this week. It's a buy that I meant to do last week and forgot, so I'm gonna go ahead and buy it here. Dad, is mom in the background?
No.
Okay, I'm buying moms this week. I just want to say, when you think about the amount of stuff that moms do all the time, but especially around Christmas, I mean, unbelievable amount of work goes into it, and a lot of stuff that we don't think about. You know what I mean? So I'm buying moms this week for all they do every week, but especially around the Christmas season. And I'm selling the dads, DA who comes in on Christmas Eve, swoops in with some ticks, while mom's out there just, she's grinding all Christmas. But no, this is not a sell of Dad. This is a buy of all the moms out there. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. I'm sorry your mom wasn't in here. She was sitting at this end of the bar, and she moved on. So very specific buy for me this week. As you all know, and you've heard us talk a little bit over the course of the last 8 months or so, that I'm a dog owner now. For the last year and a half now, we rescued a dog from the pound. His name is Javi, as in Javi Lopez, the former catcher of the Atlanta Braves. My sister thought his name was Hobby, Hobby. And the people at PetSmart, when I took him over there to get a wash, thought his name was Jabby, Jabby, or Jabby. I don't know which. But anyway, his name is Hobby, Javy. So, he's not the buy. But I'm going to tell you, the Tractor Supply dog wash station is the buy. So if you're not familiar with this, and maybe I shouldn't be telling people this because next time I go, there's going to be a line.
Gatekeep all 2026, baby.
$10, y'all. $10. They've got everything. They've got so if you're not a fancy person that's already, put one of these dog washing stations in your house, and you're like me and you don't want to mess up a bathtub and it's too cold to do it outside, Tractor Supply, $10. They got 3 or 4 different types of shampoo. They give you a couple of blankets. They've got hair dryers. They got scrubbers. They got like hair scrubber type things. So you can give him kind of a massage while you're getting the dirt off of him. Warm water. Dude, that is a deal. $10. And if you sign up so that you're in the system or whatever, buy 3 and get 1 free. So
not even $10, $7.50. I think if I'm doing the math right.
$7.50. That's
dude,
good.
that is a bargain, big time. Tractor Supply, if you got one in your area and you want to wash your dog and you don't have all those fancy things at your house, that's a good deal.
Tractor Supply, by the way, would be a great sponsor of the pod if you're listening. I'd be happy to wear.
Yeah,
we'd be happy to wear your gear. That'd be a great.
Wait, hang on. Pause.
Who says no on that one? Michael got him a Tractor Supply hat.
Get a look at what this could be, Tractor Supply. Get a look at the potential future right here that we might have.
I like that, Mike.
Listen, we got to get the hashtags out there on this thing. All right. Get Tractor Supply on the hook. Sundrop, Jammin' Jays, Savannah Sweet Tea, Tractor Supply. Let's go.
And let me tell you something, Tractor Supply. Do me a favor. Come closer to my house. Right now, I got to drive 30 minutes to a Tractor Supply, so they're not my stop for everything. I've had to go out there for specific things. I kind of have to save up a couple of things that I need specifically from Tractor Supply. I don't want to have to do that. Come to the neighborhood. We need you in the neighborhood.
There you go.
Can I use this as a segue into the draft? Dad, are you cool with that?
Please.
So we need listener feedback on a couple things. So Dad just said Jammin' Jays. We are seriously considering the idea of a 1-year live podcast recording party, potentially at Jammin' Jays. We need people to tap in, as Michael says, if you would come to such an event. Number 1. So tap in. Would you come to a live taping where it would be a podcast? We'd be doing it in public, whatever. Number 2. I completely lost it. Like, not even, what was the last? Oh, Katie is the one who usually does those hashtag breakouts for us. Shouts out to Katie for completing her practice exams, passed math, awaiting her score on reading. Just wanted to give a quick shout out to Sister of the Pod, who usually gets talk trash on the spot. So I wanted to shout her out. And then that takes us into our draft, which this evening is going to be, I think, potentially a bit controversial. We're going to have to clear a few things up maybe before we start. We're going to draft our best sauces tonight. So our top sauces, I've got it set up right now for 4 rounds. This is why I was doing listener feedback. You guys are looking at the Instagram post. You're not voting. We can see the numbers. There are sometimes over 1,000 people viewing the post and then like 4 of you voting. I don't understand why that is. I don't know if you don't see it. So give us some feedback. Maybe we do it in Instagram stories instead of posts. Like, I don't know what you're missing, but
I think that's an option. I also think I mentioned this. Maybe it would be good for engagement if we said comment.
Sure.
Comment your vote.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay. We'll work on that. So we did not have enough, we didn't have a quorum last week. Not enough people voted. So Dad, I'll let you pick where you want to go on the list, 1 through 3. Where do you want to go?
I've been enjoying the 3 spot a little bit lately, so I'll stick with 3.
All right, Mike, you want 1 or 2?
I'll take 1 here.
All right, so we're gonna go MA in the 1, D Ray in the 2, DA in the 3. We'll take any issues on a case by case basis because I do think that we might have a few issues come up.
Should we make rules though, or no? You're saying
No, it's up to
we
you.
just roll with it.
What,
All right, I don't care. I'm good with rocking and rolling. I just think that I'm going to be the one that ends up getting hurt.
Okay.
But I've got the number 1 pick, and you know where I'm going right here. I'm taking Ranch, baby. I got to. It goes on anything specifically. You know, not that we need to get into the specifics here. You know which ranch I'm not drafting. And you probably have in your head which ranch I am drafting. I'm drafting that one, whatever that is for you. Wherever you source your good ranch, you know, if I said Jan's, I don't think that'd be super meaningful to you, but wherever you get your good ranch, that's where I'm taking.
And, you know, because you already have brought this up and said that, you know, I would have said ranch is a dressing, not a sauce. So
yeah, so I thought this might come up, but I think ranch gets to play in both categories because you do dip into it, you know.
100%. No,
Yeah.
I got no problem with it, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying I would have.
I'm just saying that if I had taken ranch away from me, this would end up being like a 2-round draft.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, I'm going to go with the Zach sauce in the 2 spot. I think it's better than the Cane sauce. Personally, not by much, but it is better. I could drown myself into it, so I'm going to go Zach sauce 2.
Yeah, it's so funny that you take the Zach's over Cane's, but you spent a whole summer not eating Cane's chicken.
Yeah.
So it's crazy.
Yeah.
All right, I'm taking soy.
Oh, like a shot to the heart, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
I'm going soy, and you know, I mean, might as well go ahead and get the pear. I'm gonna take
No.
teriyaki as well.
Wow.
Oh, teriyaki. Okay, teriyaki. Okay, all right. Well, because you worried me there, I'm gonna go ahead and take the yum yum here in the 2 spot.
Yeah, the shrimp sauce.
It has to go yum yum shrimp, whatever you want to call it. It's. I just had it tonight at dinner. That's part of the reason why we had salt as the category. We were talking about it. I was like, let's brainstorm about it, and on the table was yum yum and soy, and I thought, are we looking at half of the Mount Rushmore of sauces right here? So I'm gonna go with yum yum.
Yep, good pick.
It's a fantastic choice. I'm quite excited about this 1-2 punch that I get to roll right here. In the 2 spot, I am going to take Frank's, baby. I'm going to take some buffalo sauce, hard to beat. And then right off the back of it, give me Alfredo. What do you know about that Alfredo?
So
David Ray. David Ray, what's the word that you typically say after Alfredo? Sorry, what is it?
No. What I was saying is I hadn't thought about this. Is like, does that mean spaghetti sauce is allowed?
Yeah, marinara's on the table.
Okay, I just hadn't thought about it. You opened up a new world to me, and Mike, let me open up a new world to you with the 3rd pick. Give me Sauce Gardner. Give me Sauce Gardner in the 3 spot. He's an elite cornerback.
Fantastic.
He's an elite
That's
cornerback.
fantastic.
I mean, we're
Yeah.
talking about. I know that he didn't have a good year, but I mean, the guy. He's a shutdown corner in an age where there are no shutdown corners.
Oh,
That's fantastic, David Ray. That's an amazing pick.
we already established he was 2-16 this season.
We did, yeah.
He's on injured reserve.
Well, does the committee allow that pick, or do I have to go back to the
you
drawing
can
board?
Take it. I mean, yeah,
Okay,
that's
all
a
right.
terrible pick. You can have it.
Bro, so many people are just going to see the graphic and be like, Gardner sauce? Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, we gotta have a picture there for
I'm
sure.
taking barbecue. Come on, let's go. And I think I will round it out with. Listen, we got a local. Jeanette's son makes a local sauce here in Shelby. It's crazy. Asian. Let me hang on a second. Time out.
Yeah, get this right.
Uh-oh.
Dad. Get this
Is
right.
Is this the first ever timeout call in draft history?
Do we recognize that? And how many do you get?
I'd say 3 a year. He just burned one early in
Yeah.
January. He just did the thing.
It's actually, that's her too. She went to high school with us. It's called Crazy Chinese Girl Salt.
I can't write that down. I can't put that. I can't put crazy Chinese girl.
Listen, it's what do you call it? It's
Dad didn't even want to say it. He went and got the bottle.
No.
and
I
was
wanted
holding
to
it
make
in
sure.
front of the camera.
I wanted to make sure that it was Chinese and not Asian.
Hold on, Dad. Keep it right there. I got a screenshot. Just how close you are to the screen right now with the crazy Chinese. It's incredible.
All right. So anyway, this is when we used to go to her restaurant. It's called Knee Fin uptown. It's not there anymore, but that is a sauce for the pot stickers.
Mm-hmm.
Dude, that's good stuff. Hey,
Yeah.
and it's only, you can buy that on Amazon now. It's national, so just because she's from Shelby and she's making it here, you can buy it on Amazon, I think, and put that in your fridge. It's good stuff.
So Dad, I'm just wondering because I was waiting for you to draft all four of yours before I asked. Is au jus not a sauce?
I would not have considered au jus a sauce just off
Okay.
the top.
Okay.
I know that y'all would have given me, oh Lord, y'all used to give me heck about some au jus.
Yeah. So I'm gonna because you said Knee Fin. Yeah, I was on the board or I was on I was on the fence about which one to pick. So I'm gonna pick this one. I'm gonna go across the street and I'm gonna get the tiger sauce from what is now
Buffalo Creek, I think.
originally Fane's, then Joe's Place, the most elite sauce on a chicken tender you've ever had in your life. And I'm telling you right now, Zach sauce, Yum Yum sauce, Sauce Gardner, and Tiger sauce is not going to get me a single vote. I might get blanked. Maybe I'll get a field goal like Matt LaFleur did to keep it from being a shutout against the Bears, but it's not going to be good.
No.
Yeah. Max Martin, come through and vote for David Ray right now.
Yeah,
He
come
really
on,
needs
Max of the pod. Come on.
Yeah. I'm gonna take right here. This is my personal favorite sauce, but I'm taking it in the 4 spot because I did want to respect the audience and their input. I am gonna take honey roasted barbecue sauce from my friends over at the Chick-fil-A.
Dad had a buffalo. Dad had a barbecue. I don't know that we can allow that.
I'm taking a specific honey roasted barbecue sauce. And it's so very much not barbecue. Do you guys just must not know what I'm talking about?
No, I actually do not know what you're talking about.
Mike, all I'm going to ask you is this. What if with the second pick, I would have said Chick-fil-A Ranch? Would you have allowed that?
No, it's completely different. All right,
Okay,
here you go.
all right.
Here you go. Hang on. Here you go.
Oh, no.
Time out. Be right back.
He's So you guys have burned 2 of your first timeouts of the year. And we had a chance to stay under an hour, but I think we're probably going to lose it now.
How many timeouts do we get?
We said 3 a year. I think we just decided. And personally, I'm just waiting for this podcast to be over so I can go put on Instagram the photo of you holding that bottle of sauce.
Hey, listen, that's another sponsorship.
I mean, that does look orange or Auburn. It doesn't look like a traditional barbecue sauce.
It doesn't look like barbecue sauce that Dad was drafting when he took barbecue sauce. It just so happens to have the last letters BBQ on it.
All I know is that when you were talking about your ranch with the first pick, you said it doesn't matter what kind of ranch it is. It's whatever kind of ranch you like, whatever kind of ranch you
This
like.
This is not barbecue sauce.
It says BBQ in the title, Mike. I don't know what to tell you.
All right, I'll tell you what.
I don't care.
I tell you what, I'm taking Chick-fil-A sauce because they're basically this is almost identical to Chick-fil-A. It's just got slight things that make me appreciate it more. But the people are going to like Chick-fil-A sauce better. Thank you for helping walk me into another draft win.
Yeah, I do think Chick-fil-A sauce is a better pick. Probably like that you probably will help you out in the long run.
Hey, my OLI, by the way, was that special sauce that's on the Big Mac. 2 off-beef patty special sauce, lettuce, cheese, pickles, onions on a sesame seed bun.
I had that on my list as well. Good pick or good thought of a pick, I guess.
Gotta love it. And we're
all right. Well, we got 50 seconds to play with.
We can get out in time. We can get out under an hour. Hey, that's going to do it for this week's edition of 2 Daves and a Mike. Peace.
Peace.